Long before it was finished, Karakoram had become, administratively, the most important city in Asia. A stream of envoys came to pay their respects at the seat of the great Khan. But while Ogadai was still building his capital, his armies were on the move in northern China. Unlike previous campaigns, this war was proving long and difficult. For 3 years, the advantage swung from one side to the other. Eventually, the Mongols gained the upper hand. Millions of Chinese had perished. Millions more fled south, and Chinese power was reduced to a tiny enclave around the city of Kaifeng. Everyone who could took refuge here for a final stand. This was the most formidable city the Mongols had ever encountered. Jin power would not be extinguished until it had fallen. Kaifeng itself was an important trading center and had a population, now swollen by refugees, of more than 1 million people. It had long been a center for artists, poets, and scholars, for merchants and craftsmen. It had many fine buildings and held one of the richest treasure houses in all China. Conquering this great city was vital to the invaders. The city walls were, to the Mongols, both a physical and a psychological barrier. Their success at war depended on speed and mobility, not on drawn-out sieges. The Jin defenders knew how to use artillery and gunpowder and inflicted great casualties on the Mongol forces, who had to learn to be patient. So, when eventually the place did fall, the Mongols were swift in taking revenge for having been so inconvenienced. They executed all the male members of the Jin royal family, and there were a great many of them. Then they deported the women to Karakoram as slaves. Next, they rounded up the men and examined them. All the craftsmen, doctors, and clerks were deported. The rest were held in the city. They didn't suspect it, but the Mongols planned to execute them all. Not just in Kaifeng, but throughout all of northern China. It was to be genocide on an unprecedented scale.